Oh, my goodness. Let's talk about what's happening in Major League Baseball. Payrolls, last minute deals. Padres issue. As of noon today, Padres payroll is $208 million. That includes what they just agreed to with Luis Ariz and Dylan Cease. They have yet to solve the Michael King problem. He's going to arbitration. He's asking for $8.8 million. Agents are not taking pitchers into multi-year deals. It's like every agent now wants to take his guy to free agency that next year. Michael King is going to probably go to free agency just to see what the payday is going to be like. The burning question, the Padres now have cost certainty as to what it would cost somebody to take Ariz in a trade or take Cease in a trade. So that means if they call the Yankees back, the Yankees know for Ariz it'd be $14 million. Question is, what do the Padres get back? I hear Clark Schmidt, one of their mid-level rotation guys, kind of like a Michael King, and I hear Jason Dominguez. I also hear some of their young infielders. Do they dare trade Dylan Cease? Because you've already lost Joe Musgrove, and if you trade Dylan Cease, please tell me who is going to be in your rotation after Darvish and after Michael King. That's a big issue because I don't think you can use Randy Vasquez, Matt Waldron, Johnny Brito, and say, oh, we'll be in a pennant race with those guys to start as 3, 4, and 5. So I don't know if they can do that. Here's a story that just broke in the early hours today. I don't understand the rationale. Maybe this is the front end of something else. Why would you shop Robert Suarez?
Oh, yeah.
Affordable $10 million a year contract. Why would you trade him now when you've openly attempted to trade Ariz and Dylan Cease? But that's out there. And the Jake Cronenworth thing is out there again. Trade that's $70 million that's owed. Problem is, if you were to trade Suarez, you create a hole in the bullpen. If you trade Cronenworth, one of your infielders gone. And if you have to pay some of the money to have somebody take those guys, how does it really value you? And, as we sit here at lunchtime, they still need another starting pitcher. They need a left fielder. They need a catcher. And the bench bunch has to be filled out. I mean, they're painted into a really tough corner because of the contracts that A.J. Preller gave out to all those star players. They're all unmovable contracts. And then you got the whole Sasaki thing. As the ownership situation, which spilled out into the streets last week, the quote, civil war, is that going to scare Sasaki away? Here's the latest on Sasaki. He was in Toronto. He paid a visit to Toronto. Everybody else who met with him went to L.A. and met in the agent's office. Sasaki came back from Japan with his agent, Joel Wolfe, went to Toronto to meet the Blue Jays in person. It's the only place he's made an in-person visit.
Interesting.
I don't know whether Toronto is a finalist. There's also a report at this hour that Sasaki's people have told the Giants they're out, that they're not going to be part of it. And there's also another report that Texas may have been told they're not going to be a finalist either. Sasaki can sign on Wednesday. That's the first day he can sign on the 15th. He has from the 15th to the 23rd to actually put his name on the paper. So that's the latest with the Padres. Dodgers. We talked about this. The Dodgers, by making virtue of all these trades in which they got international pool money as part of the transactions or international draft picks, the Dodgers have $10.7 million to use in the international pool. Move it to the front of the table to Sasaki. Most everybody else is in the 5 to 6 to 7 million range. The Dodgers got 10.1. Evidently, the Dodgers have revisited with Jack Flaherty. He is still out there. Supposedly, they're willing to go 1 year, $15 million. They're not going to give him 5. Nobody's giving him 5. That's why he's still out there. But they want Flaherty to be able to prove that he can stay healthy for another calendar year because his history has always been about different injuries. Again, Dodger payroll, money is no object.
Right.
Scrooge is not any part of their sentences. So Flaherty might be out there still in the hunt for the Dodgers, though Flaherty is still talking to other teams. Angels, Peter Alonso, Mets. There evidently was a conversation about a 2-year, $50 million deal, $25 million per season. It was rejected. Now, I don't know whether the Angels rejected it or Alonso's people, Scott Boras, rejected it. Boras wants Alonso to get the max he can. 31.1 million is what people project. Well, he's not getting the max if he goes to Anaheim at 2 years, 25 per season. Why would the Angels do that? Why would the Angels give Alonso 2 years, 25 mil with an opt-out after the first year? And they have to give up 2 draft picks to sign Alonso because he was given a qualifying offer by the Mets, turned it down. So immediately it's draft pick compensation. Why would you sign Alonso for a 2-year deal with the risk he could opt out after 1 year and you lose draft picks too?
Right.
Makes no sense at all. The latest thing with Alonso is he's gone back to the Mets and he's made a one-time offer to the Mets. Give me 3 years, 31 million per, 3 years, 90. That'll give me the average value that the agent wants. You keep the power hitting first baseman. But by the way, you got to give me an opt-out after the first and second year. Mets have not responded there. So a lot of machinations right now. Who's proposing what to whom? Alonso would be great for the Angels, but I'm not giving up two draft picks as compensation with a risk I might only get him for 1 year. It makes no sense to me at all. We'll see if the Mets pick him up on this 3-year deal with opt-outs after the first and second year. So, John, this is just about not, here's my contract, John, sign it. This is about all these clauses in the contract that change the whole structure of your budget, your payroll, and your team.
Doesn't it feel like Alonso would prefer to be in New York? You know, that's he's got the love there. You know, they're all there for the polar bear. It seems like they're just sort of playing with Artie Moreno, just using him as a competitive offer that they can pivot off of. I just don't see Alonso really going to Angels. And to your point, in a team that's desperate for prospects, why would you give up your draft picks? That would make no sense at all.
You know, the other factor is Alonso in his last 2 years is at 229. Yeah, he's hit 80 home runs, but he's hit 229. So even if you were to get him for 3 guaranteed years, what kind of player are you actually getting? Big.
Well, he's become like Dave Kingman, sort of, hasn't he? You know, just he'll hit the bomb, he'll strike out, and he's not getting on base.
So all things baseball, feel free. Are you alarmed at where the Padres are? What do you think about Sasaki now with this change of venue and the decision to go to Toronto and meet with the Jays? Any Angel fans out there? There's got to be somebody from New York who's got an opinion here. Join us in Fans Forum in the chat box right now.
Hey, I want to talk about the Padres and Dodgers real quick. So it's ridiculous that the Padres didn't work a deal with Michael King. You know, you don't want to put that guy out to arbitration. That's a guy that you want to hang on to. But, you know, it doesn't bother me at all that AJ Preller is talking about Suarez. I mean, they're just trying to get some conversations going to see who might be able to do a creative deal with them. And as far as the Dodgers are concerned, I mean, they look like the likely place for Roki Sasaki to land. I mean, how could they not land there? But, you know, there's a lot of people that have questioned you about the conditional, the international pool money and whether it was tradable and what that deal with Gavin Lux really was with the Cincinnati Reds. So it's all very confusing to me.
The international set of rules is different than normal draft. You can't trade normal draft picks, but you can trade slot money within the draft pool. You can trade international pool money. And that's what the Dodgers did. By trading Gavin Lux, they got a Reds draft pick. That draft pick has a dollar value attached to it. It's 2.5 mil.
That's the conditional draft pick that people are talking about.
Yes. So the Dodgers had 2.5 million left from last year. That money carries over. 2.5 million for the Gavin Lux draft pick. That goes into the pool. So that's 5 million total, plus what they already had, which was 5.7 million for this year. So it adds up to 10.7 total in their international pool.
See, I get that. 10 point, the math adds up. But some people are questioning whether or not international dollars are transferable. Like you can take your surplus from the previous year and move it to the new year.
I believe you can.
Okay. All right. We'll see.
I wasn't good in new math, but that's what I read.
Well, if everything you say is right, then yeah, the Dodgers are bleeping brilliant because they'll probably get Sasaki for sure.
And you can trade for international money. There's a cap as to how much international money you can get from another club. But every draft pick has a dollar value assigned to it. And by getting the Gavin Lux trade for a draft pick, that becomes dollars.
Interesting. All right. Okay.
I just telling you what I know, what I hear, what people tell me. We go from that